Y'all, I don't know what South Mississippi has done to make Mother Nature mad, but if I have anything to do with it, I apologize in advance. Um, some really cold weather here today and tomorrow and Wednesday. This morning when I left the house at 4:45, it was 26 degrees. The high today was about 39, almost got to 40, which is not terribly bad. But considering I am in the deepest part of South Mississippi, it's pretty cold. Um, but then tomorrow, the high is going to be 32. It's not even going to get above freezing. Low of 18. That's pretty cold. That's not accounting the wind chill. And I know some of y'all up north, oh, that's amateur. Well, for South Mississippi, that's crazy. Here's the kicker. For the last couple of days, they've been predicting snow, chances of snow. It was originally 20 to 40% chance, then it went to 50, 60, and then yesterday evening or this morning, they just said, hey, it's going to snow. And they're expecting about 3 to 4 inches of accumulating snow here in South Mississippi. So it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Let's just say that. But then this weekend, it's going to be a high of 60 and low of 50. So I might get some camping done. We'll see. Yeah, other than that, work's going same as always, or same as last week. Pretty crazy. People getting sick, the flu's going around, so I was short 5 people today out of my team, so that was over half my team, or about a third of my team, I guess it is. Anyways, yeah, so it's going kind of crazy at work. Getting behind, but there's nothing we can do about it, so we're just trugging along. But anyways, enough of that rambling. I got 5 envelopes today. Let's go and see what we got in them on today's Mailbag Monday. So let's go ahead and get started with this one here from good old Simcoe, Ontario, Canada. Got lots of interesting stamps on this one here. Let's see what we got from Canada. I think I bought stuff from this seller before because Simcoe, Canada sounds pretty familiar. It looks like I got 3. If I'm not mistaken, this seller, when you put your cards on a wish list or watch list, they'll send you a little deal, like 10% off, 15% off, whatever it is. But if you buy 3 cards, you get 20% off. So that's what I went ahead and did. I went ahead and got 3 cards from this particular seller and saved a little bit more money. So let's take a look at what we have here first. Let's go with this one right here. What this is the Phantom Grove Express at the Masterpiece Gardens. Now, let's take a look at it and see what we can see about the Masterpiece Gardens. It says here, the Phantom Grove Express carries visitors on a guided jungle tour throughout the colorful Masterpiece Gardens in Lake Wales, Florida. Now, the Masterpiece Gardens, I had to look at my notes. I wasn't too familiar with it. When I found this card, it was just interesting for the train and the little sky ride there. I'm not familiar with this, so I took some notes on it. Anyways, the gardens opened in the early 1950s and operated until the late 1970s. It was basically like a botanical gardens that had an alligator pool, monkey island, a deer area, and it also had a giant mosaic of the Last Supper that was made in the late 1920s, and they brought it into this park as a attraction, I guess you'd say. The park is no longer there, and it is now a Christian retreat center. Looking on Google Earth, there is not even any relics or remnants of this train, the train tracks. You can't even see where it went. So I thought it was kind of cool piece of train history. I think this was like $3 for this card, $3.30. I think is what I paid for this card. So just kind of interesting. And continuing in Florida here. Now, a lot of people are going to know what this is. This is the riverboat that's in Disney World in Orlando, Florida. If I can get to focus there, see what it says here about it. It says, cruising the rivers of America, the majestic Admiral Joe Fowler and an authentic steam-powered stern wheeler set sail from Liberty Square on a scenic cruise of the frontier rivers of America. Now, this is actually one of 2 riverboats that used to be on the rivers of America, if I'm not mistaken. This is not the Liberty Belle that is currently there. And actually, the Liberty Belle will be no more probably sometime this year, as Disney is revamping all of this area. Tom Sawyer Island, all that stuff is getting revamped into a whole new island or a whole new area. So not really looking forward to that, because I really enjoyed the Tom Sawyer Island that was there. It's still there, but it's not going to be there for long. This ship, when it was going to be doing some repairs on it in early 1980s, it fell from the crane when they were lifting it out of the water, pretty much destroying it. That left the other the other riverboat, which it got remodeled and redone, and that became the Liberty Belle that is there today, and its fate is really unknown as to what's going to happen with it once the Riverboat of America closes. So that's kind of why I got this. When I got it, I was thinking it was the Liberty Belle, but still, it's still the riverboat. So that's why I got that. Kind of a little piece of Disney history. And last but not least here, it says, hurry back to Florida. If you can see there, this is the official Florida State Welcome Center. Information, relaxation for guests of the state of Florida. Okay, let's take a look if I can get to focus. There we go. See what it says here about it. It says the Florida Welcome Station at the state line on Route 41. One of the new tourist information houses located on the main highways at the state line, where free orange juice and tourist information is combined with an official welcome to Florida. Now, there was about 6 or 7 of these built along the major highways and routes going in and out of Florida. This was prior to the welcome stations that we have now on the interstates. The interstates, I-10, I-75, I-95, those were built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. If I'm not mistaken, these, I think there was 6 or 7, like I said before. I believe they were built in the mid 40s to mid 50s, somewhere in that time frame, throughout time frame. This is actually still there. Looking back at Google Earth, the last thing it was, last business, what it was called Pirates Gold, I believe it was. It was an internet cafe. I don't know, internet cafe. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's odd. It seemed kind of like a front to me. Why would you have an internet cafe in the middle of nowhere, Florida? I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. Before that, it was a place called Cooter Jack's. And I'm just guessing that was a bar. That's kind of a weird name. And prior to that, I'm not exactly sure, because Google Maps and all that doesn't go prior to 2008, something like that. So, yeah. This was actually the second one that was opened. The first one opened, I believe, it was a little bit to the west of this, for on the Florida Panhandle. And with the success of that one, they decided to build this one and more and more and more, until the interstates came along, and then basically these pretty much shut down one way or the other. That's when the interstate ones came in, and the larger rest areas came in, with more traffic on the interstates, things like that. So it was just kind of a cool piece of Florida history that's still there, but it's a blast from the past. So this next postcard comes to us from Windcrest, Texas. It's got some also interesting stamps on it there. They're taken after Canada with the 8-cent stamps. I don't know. So let's see what we got from Texas. Not sure how I want to get into this card, because it's in there. Let's see if I can rip it here. I don't know. This one might want to fight me. No. What's that? Oh, yeah. It's definitely a Monday. Okay, so it's... Yep. It wants to fight me, y'all. I didn't want to put my knife to it, so I wasn't sure how big this card was. But they protected it well. So let's see what they protected well. They got it taped. Just do that. Thanks. And a little thank you note in there. All right. What this is, I'm sure some of y'all might recognize this. This is a wigwam motel. Now, this wigwam motel is the one that's located in Cave City, Kentucky, which is located just outside of Mammoth Caves in Kentucky. And let's take a look here and see what it says. It says, Cave City, Kentucky, 6 miles from Mammoth Cave National Park. Air-conditioned cafe specializing in steaks and chicken. Wigwam's air-conditioned, steamed heat, city water, gift shop, and a TV available. Now, the reason why I got this, I've always been interested with these. There's 3 left, believe it or not. I've been trying to get to Mammoth Caves for the last 3 to 4 years, and I'm trying to get there this year for my birthday in June, July, sometime in that area. So that's why I picked this card. I thought it was just kind of a cool piece of old history. And this was postmarked from 1961, so it kind of shows you a little bit more about it. I got some notes on this too, because I'm interested in the history of the whole setup of the wigwams. Kind of go over it pretty. Let's see if I can go over it quickly enough here. They were made from 1933 to 1949 by a fellow named Frank Redford. There are 7 locations: 2 in Kentucky, 1 in Alabama, 1 in Florida, Arizona, Louisiana, and California. Now, there's only 3 left. The one that's in Arizona, this one in Kentucky, and 1 in California. Now, most of them were all in this circular nature. Now, there's some of them that were like a U shape or a block shape, if you will, but all pretty much focused around a restaurant or gift shop, and some even had a gas station outside of them. So, now, the first one was opened in Horse Cave, Kentucky in 1933. It closed shortly thereafter when this one opened up, but it operated under a different name for a while, and it was actually bulldozed in the early 80s. This one here was opened in 1937. Like I said, it's still operating and was recently renovated and updated on the inside. Now, the one that was in New Orleans, it opened in 1940 in a suburb of New Orleans called Metairie. It closed in 1954, and there's not much known about it. Now, the one in Orlando opened in 1948, and it was a large setup with 27 wigwams. It actually closed in 1974 and was replaced with a Days Inn. Now, current day, there is a big, large 300-room hotel. But whenever they replaced it with a Days Inn, they actually kept the pool that was there. They actually tried to take some of the wigwams out and take them to like a Boy Scout camp or something like that, but they were too heavy to lift with the helicopter they had, so that didn't work out too well. Now, the 5th one was located in Bessemer, Alabama, which is just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. It opened in 1940 and closed down in 1964. Not much is known about that one either. Now, the 6th one, which is still operating, was in Hallbrook, Arizona. It opened in 1950 on Route 66. It's really close to the Petrified National Forest and the Grand Canyon, and that's probably why it still kept going, is it's on Route 66, and it's, by some classic roadside attraction type things. And the last one is located in San Bernardino, California. It was built between 1947 and 1949. Now, Frank Redford built it for himself and not part of his franchise, so I assumed he operated it on his own, I guess you say, and away from the other franchises, legal things, monetary things like that. Now, the one that was in San Bernardino, California, that's still going, it has a double row wigwam. So there's one row and then a separate row behind it. It's kind of interesting setup. Now, it actually has 20 of it. This one here, I think, is like 12 or 13 wigwams, while the one in California has 20. The one in California, the property got really ran down at one point, and it got to a point where it was a pay-by-hour motel. Let that sink in. But in the early 2000s, it was renovated and actually is still operating. Now, I'm not sure if it's the one that's in Arizona or the one that's in California. I think it's the one that's in California. I don't know if they still own it or not, but the gentleman that did own it, I remember seeing it back on Twitter back in the early 2000s when he was renovating it, trying to get it back up to good standings with the general public. It was kind of cool seeing him follow along the progression of the Wigwam Hotel. So, like I said before, in the couple of months, June, July, I'm hoping to stay in one of these Wigwams hotels. So, if you're interested in Wigwams, keep your eyes out for that video. So I got to admit, a lot of these things, I don't know a lot of the history on some of them, and they still intrigue me. So that's why I kind of got some little notes off the side here. So if you see me or hear me fumbling with some paper or bumming around, I'm just kind of trying to read off notes. And that's one of the things I like about some of these postcards. I like the history of them and learning more about them. And I've learned a lot of stuff about this stuff over the last couple of years and things I never knew. So, so if you hear me fumbling around paper off the side, that's what it is. I got some notes over there. It'll be all right. All right, so the next postcard comes to us from Paris, Texas. I don't know where Paris, Texas is. I've never heard of Paris, Texas. Let's get into this one. This one is not an envelope. It looks like some cardboard folded over. I don't know. Let's see if I can get in here without cutting my hand in the postcard. More importantly, my hand. I need my hand. This one, where's the card at? Okay, yeah, this one. This one's gonna whoop me here. Oh, there it goes. All right, let's see. All right, give me a second here. Let me get back with you in just a second here because it's all taped up in there. Hold on. All right, that one tried to whoop me. It wasn't an envelope. It was a cereal box that they just folded over and. Yeah, anyways, let's see what we got here. Now this card I'd seen a couple times before, and postcards from this amusement park, are somewhat rare, but more rare with the roller coaster. So we'll get into that in just a second. This is the Hangman roller coaster that was located in Opryland in Nashville, Tennessee. This is Opryland's newest thrill ride. Now, going back to what I was saying with the postcards, a lot of postcards from Opryland, I have one or two from the roller coasters, and that's all they were found. This is the third one. Now, Opryland wasn't a really big ride type park. It was a music type park, opry, hillbilly, country music, jamboree, that sort of thing. So it wasn't very big on rides, so it didn't make a lot of postcards with the rides. You can find a lot of postcards about Opryland, but it's like the show buildings and things that don't really pertain to me and I don't care for. So anyways, when I saw this, I really had to grab hold of it. It was $3.50, maybe $4 the most, which is a steal because it's hard to find the other postcards for less than that. So anyways, now this roller coaster opened in 1995 up until the park closed in 1997. The whole park closing, I've seen documentaries where people that are pretty high up in the company, they still don't know why Opryland closed. It doesn't make sense. They was making money. They still don't understand why the upper people that owned it, whatever, decided to close it. Hence, why would you put this much money into a park, buying this roller coaster, and 2 years later close it down? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Even though they did sell it, made some of their money back. But anyways, so this was what's called a Vekoma SLC roller coaster. It is a suspended looping coaster. Now, there was about 25 to 30 of these built. It was pretty much mass-produced, if you could say. If you've been to a theme park, you've probably seen one of these or probably rode one of these. They're pretty notorious for being bumpy and just uncomfortable, let's say. I've never rode one. When I was there at the park, I was pretty young, and I was not too fond about being hanging upside down, and I didn't ride it. kind of kicked myself in the butt because I didn't realize the park was going to shut down the next year. I was there in 1996. It shut down the next year. So, yeah, this was bought by Six Flags Discovery Kingdom somewhere in California. They bought it right after the park closed in 1997, 1998, somewhere in that time frame. And it's actually still operating today. So, good to see it's still going, but I wish I could have rode it then. Like I said, just a cool piece of history that I missed out on. And I don't know if I dodged a bullet with this one or not, because like I said, it was they're pretty notorious for being rough. So I still want to ride it, but we'll get to it one day. So yeah, like I said before, this is one of those postcards you'll see a lot of with the roller coasters and rides from Opryland. So it's going to go good in that collection. I am not even going to attempt to say where that came from. Okay, if you can read. I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to butcher it today. So let's see what I got from that place. See, now this is how you package a postcard. It's a nice envelope, plenty of room. Since I have another envelope, and it's still a piece of cardstock here. That's how you package a postcard. Now, you're going to kind of see a theme here. And it didn't really exactly plan out. I didn't really plan it to go like this. But it happened. So when I was researching those other postcards with the Florida Welcome Center, it intrigued me. I saw that one and watched it for a while, and then I go off on a tangent and I start looking at for others. And sure enough, I found a couple more. Now, like I said before, there were 6 of them, and I've only found postcards for 2 or 3. And this is one of the other ones. No, excuse me. This is another view of that one. If you look at it, it's just the other side of it. Okay? All right. Can I agree with that? Okay. Okay. So, just an interesting and a different view of it. Same history. But this postcard, if you look right here, it tells us the other ones that were around. It says, "Welcome to Florida. For the convenience of visitors of the state of Florida, provides 6 information stations near the state line at the following locations: near Yulee, near Monticello, near Hilliard, near Campbellton, near Jennings, and near Pensacola." So that's why I got this one too. Like I said, I already had bought this one. Okay, I bought that one, but then when I saw this one is more popular. You see a lot of these on eBay. They're not rare at any means, but that one there is a little bit more rare. You don't see many of them. I don't know if it's different time frames. You get old cars there. I can't tell if there's any difference. That's probably a 50s era car. Those look like 50s era cars. So I don't know what the difference time frame is. Unfortunately, neither one of them is postmarked. So I'm guessing 50s, mid 50s, somewhere in that area. But this one was just pretty interesting. Like I said, that it had the listing of all the other ones, and I found a page on the internet that had pretty good descriptions of where they're at, and on some of them. So it's kind of cool. I could actually go on Google Earth and Street View and see what's there, and that's how I got the Street Views. Like I said before, it was a internet cafe, a sketchy internet cafe, I guess you'd say, and then old Cooter Joe's bar. And before that, there's no telling what it was. So, yeah, like I said before, just kind of a cool little piece of old Florida history that's a blast from the past that I never got to see. If you remember going into Florida in the 50s, 60s, maybe even into the 70s, and you remember going to those Florida Welcome Centers, let me know in the comments below how much different they are versus what we have today. Besides the obvious, the larger size, but was there anything different that they offered back then that they don't offer today? I like to, I know how they were. But until then, this last card comes to me from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Not too far from where I have relatives at. Pretty sure I've been there. back in my childhood and early teens, visiting grandparents. Alright, here we go again. Sorry folks, like I said, I go off on a tangent. This is what happens, my mind wanders. This is another one of those Florida welcome stations. This is one of 6. Now you notice this is a totally different style, okay? Different sign, different design of the building, cars, kind of the same time frame. And let's take a look here and see what it says on the back here. It says Florida welcome stations, dispensing free orange juice and travel information, located near the state lines on major highways entering Florida, are very popular with the tourists. This picture shows the latest in welcome stations, a drive-in for faster service located near Havana, Florida, on highway number 27. Now, it says drive-in for faster service. Okay, it kind of looks like a drive-through. And maybe someone's hanging out right there. Here's your orange juice and here's a map. Get out of here. That's interesting. Why are you driving up to a rest area? I thought it was a place to get out and relax, sit down for a while, stretch your legs. What are you driving in for? Interesting to me. I don't know. I just don't know. But anyways, yeah, this was like I said, one of 6 or 7 that was built. And this one says it's on near Havana, Florida. Let's take a look at this other one that I have that has the listing of it. Where'd it go? Okay, so let's look here. But you notice something. Okay. This one's it says right there, near Havana, Florida. Havana, Florida is not listed on this list. Okay. Or Highway 27. So that's where I kind of said there were 6 or 7 of them. I've also seen one of these cards, same card here, the very popular one, where one of these was scratched out. And I found a couple of them like that, where it was possibly done by the people at the Welcome Center. Whenever they give you the postcards or whatever, it was scratched out for some reason or another, where maybe one of the welcome stations that closed, it was down for renovations or caught fire. I don't know. It was just interesting to me that this one didn't have the information scratched out. I'll see if I can take a screenshot of one of those cards I'm talking about. But it was kind of interesting that this one shows 6 and this one is theoretically number 7. So this card right here is probably newer than this card. The plot thickens. Well, this week's Mailbag Monday kind of had an interesting collection, I guess. The Florida Welcome Centers was kind of interesting. You don't see postcards about the Welcome Centers anymore, so that was kind of a cool little piece of history that I never really knew existed. I never knew these were actually a thing back before the interstates. I thought they came along with the interstates, so that was kind of interesting to see. Really looking forward to hoping to get to the Wigwam Village here, if not this year, maybe next year. Fingers crossed for this year. So hate to see the riverboat ride being gone. It's going to be quite missed by many people, but I'm glad I got to ride it this last March. So yeah, if you want to see that, I got a little video on that too. And kind of kicked myself in the pants for not writing this one, but I'm glad I got a good deal on that postcard. And just a random Florida attraction from the past that didn't stick around long, and kind of hate that I missed that one too. So yeah, it's just an interesting little collection. Kind of got off on a tangent with the Florida Welcome Centers, but you know, it is what it is. So I got some more postcards coming up. I been catching some decent deals, surprisingly enough. Like with the other ones, I got 3 get 20% off. I got a couple of those coming in. I got a lot of postcards, a quote lot, L-O-T, out of one sale. I think it was like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. It was a handful of postcards from one kind of general area, and a really good deal. And the money proceeds went to charity. So yeah, that should be coming up within the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure when it's going to be here. So, but yeah, like I said, I probably got I got enough postcards coming in to maybe do a Mailbag Monday every other week. So if you like the Mailbag Mondays, let me know which card was your favorite. Let me know if you ever rode the Opryland Hangman. If you remember these floral welcome stations, let me know. Please let me know in the comments how they've changed over the years. If you ever stayed in a Wigwam motel, I'd really like to know your experience on that. It's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully I can get there to experience myself. But anyways, I'm going to finish up this coffee and try to stay warm. And maybe one day my heater will shut off because that gas bill, I can just hear it getting higher and higher. But anyways, appreciate y'all watching. Y'all stay warm. We'll see you next time.